Shelter in place home workout, Monday, March 30th, 2020. So this is week 3 of our home workouts. Hope everybody's getting something out of it. So today, if you have a kettlebell or a dumbbell or even sliders, you can use them. If not, that's fine. The only piece of equipment that we will need for sure is, of course, the trusty weight bag. I've been looking for ways to make it a little bit heavier, so I started taking all the water bottles I could find and just filling them all the way up and just putting them in the bag. So I got a few water bottles in here right now, filled all the way up. Got a decent amount of weight to it, so you can play around with that, play around with the weight. So today's workout, we'll have our movement prep. Our circuit portion, we're actually going to do 3 supersets today. So supersets just mean you're going to do 2 exercises back to back for all the sets, and then you're going to move on to another pair of exercises. And then of course we'll finish down with our cool down. So let's get starting off with neck circles. So first I want to take my shoulders and really pin them down. Start with my chin on my chest. I'm going to do big, slow circles. And as my left ear gets to my left shoulder, I really want to focus on pulling this shoulder down to really accentuate the stretch going down my neck and trap right there. And as my right ear gets to my right shoulder, same thing on the other side, pull down that left shoulder, really accentuate the stretch right there. So you're going to do 5 slow circles in one direction, switch directions, and do your 5 slow circles in the other. Next is the forward backward shoulder rolls. So I want to set it up by bringing my arms all the way out, trying to reach out as far as I can. So on my right side here, I'm going to bring my thumb down, and I'm going to rotate my shoulder forward. On the left side here, I bring my thumb back, and I'm trying to roll my shoulders back as I can. All right, I'll hold the stretch here for a few seconds, and then I'll switch the position, all right? Now my left side thumb's going down, my right side thumb's going back. When I do this, I'm really reaching out to the side and trying to move my shoulders as far in front and as far in back as I possibly can. So take your time with this, and we'll do 5 on each side. Next is twist lunge. So on twist lunge, I'm going to take a big step back. I want to bend both legs about 90 degrees. Arms straight out, then I want to twist my torso over the leg in front. On the other side, lunge back, bend both legs, arms in front, twist over the leg in front of you. All right, so we're going to do 5 twist lunges on each side. Next is climber plus rotation. So you're going to get on your hands in a push-up position. Okay, really want to roll my elbows in, so now my arms are nice and straight. Take a big wide step on the outside of my hand. I really want to dip my weight towards that side so I get that stretch in the hip. All right, now keeping my plant arm straight, I'm just going to twist the same side I'm climbing on. And a big wide step on the other side, dip my weight towards it, keep my plant arm straight, really open up that side. So I'm going to look at it from the side here, push-up position, roll my arms in, big wide step, weight dips in, big turn, big pop in my back. All right, so climber rotations, 5 on each side. Now is the active hamstring stretch plus low back stretch. So you want to lay flat on the floor. Keeping your legs straight, you're going to lift it straight up. So you should be getting that stretching feeling in your hamstring. I'm going to bring it over to the side, keeping both shoulders on the floor here. Just bringing that leg over as far as I can. And I'll bring it all the way back to the start. And I'll do the other side. Leg goes up, stretching the hamstring. Bring it on over for the stretch in your low back, keeping both shoulders on the floor. All right, so let's do 5 on each side. First exercise in the first superset is the bridge press. So I'm going to show it with a kettlebell, a dumbbell, and the bag. So with the kettlebell, you want to grab your kettlebell in the top corner. So you make sure you have an angle going from your thumb down to your wrist. Don't bend your wrist. Lay on the ground here. Your arm is out about 45 degrees. All right, then you're going to bridge your hips up. So I'm pushing off my heels, hips up, and then we're just gonna press away. So press it all the way up, and then get your tricep all the way back on the floor. Okay? Keep your hips up as high as you can. As you start pressing, don't let them start sagging. Really pay attention to what you're doing here. So keep the hips up, keep pressing. Do both sides. Right, you do the same thing with a dumbbell. Simple. Grab your dumbbell. Use both hands. Be safe. Pop your hips nice and high. Press away. Do both sides. And then, of course, the bag. So just grab the bag any way you can. I really like to kind of get a lot of the cloth in my hand here. And then we can just go about pressing, right? So bridge the hips. Press away with your heavy bag. Might be a little awkward, but that's good. It just kind of adds some difficulty. All right, so bridge press, we'll do 8 to 12 on each side. So second exercise in the first superset is going to be a one-arm row. So we're going to use, we can use a kettlebell, dumbbell, or the bag for this. So when we do the one-arm row, I'm going to stagger my stance. Really want to push my hips back. I can chill on my front leg with my hand here. So with the kettlebell, I'm just pulling towards my ribs and really getting my elbow behind me and really making sure my shoulder rolls back too. So I don't want to leave my shoulder here. I want it to come with me on this row. So I get a really good squeeze on all the muscles on that side of my back. All right, same deal with the dumbbell. Get your hips back nice and flat, chill on my front leg and go about my rows. And of course, just grab my bag. Get a bunch of cloth in my hand here. The same rules apply. Get a good squeeze on every rep. So some 8 to 12 rows on each side. Now we're getting to our lower body stuff. So we're gonna do a suitcase squat. You can use a kettlebell, dumbbell, or bag for this. So you just wanna hold one of your weights in one side, and then we're just gonna squat with it. Okay, so when we squat, you push the hips back, sit down on your heels. This is gonna be a little more challenging because you only got the weight loaded on one side. So you really have to pay attention to what you're doing and making sure you're keeping yourself as level and balanced as possible. All right, so I'll show the dumbbell. So dumbbell on one side, stick those hips back, sit down on those heels, keep your chest up, keep looking forward, trying to get as low as you can and staying as balanced as you can, since you'll be kind of off kilter with the weight on one side. Of course, just you can do it with your bag, sit down as low as you can. So we'll do 5 with the weight on one side, then 5 more with your weight on the other side. And now we're gonna hit the hamstrings. We're gonna do the hip hinge, just like we did last week, except this time we're gonna suitcase it, just like we did on the squat. So when we suitcase it, weight goes on one side, and then we're just gonna go about our hip hinges. Right, so on our hip hinges, keep the chest up, push your hips back. I keep my legs stiff so I get a big stretch in my hamstrings, and I sit my hips back up. All right, so hinge it back, back up. And of course, this is gonna be a little more challenging because the weight's on one side. So you really have to make the effort, keep yourself nice and level, okay? And of course, same thing, holding it with the bag on one side, and then doing your hip hinges. All right, so let's do 5 hip hinges on one side, switch it, 5 on the other side, take your time, do it right. First exercise in our core superset here is going to be a basic leg lift. So on a leg lift, you want to lay flat on the floor. Now you really want to make sure you stick your low back into the ground. So you don't want any space between your low back and the floor. So take a lot of effort to keep it there. Then with your legs straight, you're going to lift them up slowly and then drop them down slowly all the way back until your heels are touching the floor. Always making sure you keep the low back into the floor. And this can be difficult. So if this is too hard, if your back's not able to stay on the floor, if it hurts your lower back, we can do the same thing. Just bend your legs this time. So bend your legs, touch the low back to the floor, bring the legs up, bring them down. So I bend my legs, And just make sure they stay in this fixed position right here. All right, so let's do 10 leg lifts. Second exercise on our core superset is plank saw. So we can do the plank saw with just body weight, or if you have sliders and you want to make it really difficult, you could add the sliders. So just going to start off with your forearms on the ground here in a basic plank position. I really want to squeeze my glutes and tuck my hips and really push into the floor with my arms. Okay, so now I have a lot of tension on my belly here. Okay, so for the saw portion, you're just going to move forward. So I'm pushing on my toes forward, and then I move back to the start. So forward, back, keeping your back flat. And if you want to add some difficulty and you have the sliders, so you just grab your sliders, put your toes in the middle of them, get back on your plank. The same rules apply, right? I squeeze my glutes, tuck my hips, really push into the floor. I can push back, pull forward, push back, pull forward. The farther you push back, the tougher this is. All right, so let's do 10 plank saws. So first cool down stretch is going to be what we at TFT call the yoga plex. You might also know it as a downward dog. So in the yoga plex, you want to push your hands on the floor, get your toes on, so you're in a push-up position. And then again, I'm going to roll my elbows forward, and I really want to push my hips up and back. So my hands just stay right where they're at. So I'm really pushing hard with my hands, like I'm trying to stick my head through my legs. And then I want to drop my heels down in the back and just hold this position right here. So really push my hips up and back. You should be getting big stretches on your hamstrings, your calves, and your shoulders. All right, so we'll hold the yoga plex for at least 30 seconds. All right, second cool down stretch is the Cobra stretch. So on the Cobra, you want to stick your hips down towards the floor here and keep your arms straight and locked out. Look forward. So I'm really pushing my hips down towards the floor. If I want to get a little bit of a different angle on it, I'll look to the side and throw a hip down towards the floor. So here I'm looking to the right, I'm sticking my left hip down towards the floor, and I can do for the other side. So I'll look to my left, throw that right hip down to the floor. So I'm down here in this stretch, I'm just playing around with it, looking for different angles, see what parts of my body need to stretch the most. So Cobra stretch, spending at least 30 seconds down there. Last cool down stretch here is going to be our pec stretch. So on the pec stretch, you want to lay down flat, kick your arms out to the side straight, and then you want to take one foot and do a big back diagonal step with it. So I'm rolling all my weight over this arm and this pec. Right, we just hold it there. If you want some extra stretch, you can take your free arm and bring it up and really twist that weight towards that pec being stretched there. Right, and then the other side, right, arm straight, kick this leg diagonally, hold the stretch there. If you want more stretch, lift the opposite arm and really turn. All right, so pec stretch on the floor here. Spend at least 30 seconds on each side, and then you're done.